Uh, hey, we just got done doing, I guess it was the second match for the tickling thing, where we have to grab someone and like hold them down and tickle them. And the first one was a little bit rough. Like it was just rough. You know, you got a bunch of guys like trying to overpower each other and overpower one guy, and testosterone gets going, and pretty soon you're not, the guy's not just pushing you off of them, they're hitting you or kicking or flailing. And then it got to the second fight, the second tickling thing with Halwa. It was me, Kevin, and Dwayne trying to tickle Halwa, and he's really ticklish. And so he was, yelling and wiggling around like normal, it happens with tickling, you're wiggling around and yelling. It always happens, someone says, ouch, or, like that hurts real quick, or someone like gets a little bit louder when you touch a spot. You think, oh, they're really ticklish there, you should keep at it, you should keep tickling them, and, so it gets to the point where, Halwa's not strapped down, so he's trying to grab people's hands and throw them off of him, and he's yelling and screaming and wiggling away, and he's really strong, he just curls up in a ball. And so we're trying even harder then to like hold him down and tickle him and get under his armpits and, get his stomach, and he howls when you get his stomach, and you're like, oh, he's really ticklish there, so you tickle his stomach harder, and then he just started yelling more and more, and you start to see from all the thrashing around, he's got like scratches on him, and then he's like kicking, and like Dwayne's getting like kicked in the stomach and in the chest, just because you can't control it, that's why people don't really strap down, because they go crazy. And so Dwayne's getting kicked, and Halwa's just like throwing his hands everywhere, and yells about his stomach, so Ryan kind of like tickles that harder, thinking he's gonna like tickle more, and like I could kind of start to see it, like you just feel it kind of start to go south. I started yelling, and it kind of sounded a little bit less like tickling and a little bit more like, like he was yelling, and like I didn't know what to do, like it didn't, usually I'm smiling and laughing through all of it, and like all of a sudden I didn't feel like I should be smiling, and but I felt like I couldn't stop at the same time, because we're trying to get to the end of it, we're trying, to get that part of the shoot done, and you can't really tell, you can't be sure, because people are always yelling, people are always, it's just, it got bad, and then Halwa just started like lashing out because he was in pain, and he couldn't really tell anyone because he was, he was just laughing, and so he just started throwing his hands out, and he kicked Dwayne really hard in the nuts, and at that point I had stopped, and like he kicked Dwayne so hard, that he pretty much like pushed himself off the bed, and just like laid there, and kind of like just held himself, and he started hyperventilating, and he was like crying at that point, and like he got up and just started cussing and saying, that we were hurting him, and like you couldn't tell, like everyone tried to explain to him that you couldn't tell, we were just trying to finish the fight, and he ran and like even hit the wall, he was really angry, and he was just hyperventilating, and we're all going out trying to talk to him, make him feel better, and at this point we had just pretty much tortured him for, however long straight, and he didn't want anything to do with us, and, it all felt bad, and he was just, we're all trying to get him to calm down, he won't be touched, and he ran to the bathroom, he's still hyperventilating, and we're like, Halwa, he's like, don't talk to me, and he's got red marks all over him, and he's like, you know, you're trying to hurt me on purpose, and we're trying to explain to him, you know, that it just happens, you know. I've gotten black and blue marks before from tickling, you know, but like this was different. Like it was different because you're physically holding someone down, you know, and when someone says stop, you know, you're not supposed to stop, you know. It's what was asked, you know, to hold someone down and tickle them, and against his will, you know, but it was actually against his will, you know, and you can't even tell. And it was just bad, and I personally, it felt wrong, and I didn't want to do it anymore. I don't think I can do that to someone again, because, you know, it made me feel like a bad person, just because, you know, I really felt like I hurt someone, and it didn't feel right. And everyone here, you know, gets along, you know, we're all friends, and I felt like I just really hurt a friend, and I'm pretty sure he felt like he'd been hurt by all his friends, and we tried to finish it, but it just had to stop. So I'm really sorry, you know, but that I just couldn't do that again. I couldn't do that to someone again. I just felt